So welcome to how to get better results from Facebook ads. It was going to be presented by two of us, and hopefully he comes back in shortly, but while we wait for him, I will continue on. Most of you should probably know who I am. My name's Gareth. I'm one of the directors of Concise, and today we are running a Facebook ad workshop and how to get the best out of it. For those of you that may not have attended one of these webinars before, all of our webinars are 100% educational. There's no sales pitch. I'll try not to do any waffle, and they usually last about 20 minutes. If you can't make it until the end, they do get recorded and they do go on YouTube and on our website. So if you fear not, if you get distracted or you get bored, you can always watch it later. Before we begin, this will be recorded, this webinar, and will be available later. If you want a copy, please send us an email. Feel free to post a question at any time. We'll try our best to get through everybody. Otherwise, we'll keep it short and we'll finish in about 20-25 minutes. So when Facebook came out many years ago, there was a lot of people who jumped on to the social platform from a user point of view. And Facebook, way back originally, was never really intended to be an ad platform. It started out as a social network, but as with most capitalism, comes people who want to make a shit ton of money out of things. And so it then turned into one of the largest advertising platforms in the world. So much so that last year they did $70 billion, that's billion with a B, in ad revenue. So considering they don't sell a physical product and they only sell space on a page, $70 billion US is quite a lot of money. And unfortunately, most of that ad revenue came from small businesses, mums and dads, who generally, and this is a very general comment, don't make a return on Facebook ads. So I thought we would run this webinar to sort of give you a bit of some top tips about if you are going to run any Facebook ads yourself, things to watch out for, and how to get the best out of it. What Facebook doesn't want you to know is publicly, Facebook is a public company on the share market. However, Mr. Zuckerberg, who always seems to look like the nice guy in his grey t-shirt, has the controlling stock via a very clever little share strategy that someone put together. And so you're effectively interacting with a platform that's owned and controlled by one person. And this person is one of the wealthiest people in the world. So as much as they pretend to be a nice person and do all the wonderful things for philanthropy and all those sorts of things, you just have to remember right down at the guts of it, you've got an individual who is making a lot of money and their personal wealth is going up. The other thing a few people may not be familiar with is that Facebook actually owns these other platforms, Messenger, WhatsApp, and Instagram. Most people would know those platforms or know of them. And between those four platforms, they pretty much have just about every English-speaking person inside their platform. So you're talking something like 3 to 4 billion users across all of their a network, which are all owned by the parent company of Facebook. What it means from an advertising point of view is that you don't necessarily have to do ads inside Facebook. You can put ads inside Facebook Messenger or Instagram or WhatsApp. There's many different ways of advertising via the Facebook ad manager that you may not have considered in the past. So the golden rule with any advertising or any marketing, but particularly with Facebook ads, is to know your customer. And when you've got a pool of 4 billion people to choose from, you need to make sure that you really control your ads very, 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 very tightly so that you're not getting wastage. Facebook ads do work for the right businesses and Instagram ads do work for the right businesses, but you really need to ask yourself the first question, and that is, are they even on Facebook, right? So I always use my dad as a classic example. He is a retired 63-year-old engineer who has no interest in using a mobile phone half the day, never mind on Facebook. So if your target customer looks like my dad, then Facebook is not the best way to get to him. So don't just assume that everybody is on Facebook and you should only use Facebook ads. Facebook ads can be used as a really good strategy in lots of marketing campaigns, but really ask yourself, who is my target customer, and are they even on Facebook? If you're trying to target 18-year-old kids at uni or millennials, whatever you want to call them, then they're probably also not on Facebook, but they may exist in Instagram or WhatsApp and so on. So it's a matter of picking the right platform for the right market. So this slide I have open here gives you a bit of an idea of the sorts of things that you can target. So one of the things Facebook doesn't want you to know is that a lot of the ways of reducing spend, which goes against their shareholder concept, is to control the ads based on demographic targeting. So demographic targeting is things like age, gender, education, where they work, relationships, so whether or not they're single, divorced, engaged, married, language, English, Mandarin, so on, and then location. And so if you imagine that you are a jeweler and your primary product is, say, engagement rings, then you would definitely want to be using the relationship status, because there wouldn't be a lot of point you targeting people who are either married or engaged, married or divorced, because or possibly even engaged, because they would not be in the market for those rings. So if you went for an engaged relationship status, then there's a probability that they may be in the market for a ring, or they may be in the market for a wedding ring. So it's really important to think about each product, each ad, each customer before you start running and building a Facebook ad. Language, also really important, often forgotten. A lot of people just put any language, but their website and their ads are written in English. So just imagine if you're showing an English ad to someone whose primary language is Mandarin, you've just wasted that traffic because that person can't, or wasted that spend because that person can't interact with that ad. Things like age, gender, if you're selling a product that is specific to a gender, or most likely to be purchased by a decision maker. I know in my marriage, many of the important decisions are not made by me, so you might as well advertise to my wife rather than myself. So keep that in mind as well. Then you can start drilling down into all these little kind of advanced features. So these are the sorts of little menus that the Facebook Ad Manager hides from you that that really start getting quite useful. So you could say, well, I want to target females who are between the age of 25 and 35, but that could be, 1 million users. And so trying to show ads to those people, and on a budget of, say, $1,000, your ads will last about 30 seconds, and you probably have a failed campaign. So interests can be very broad. So how Facebook gets this data is if you are scrolling through your Facebook feed and you start liking posts about financial news and the ASX and stocks and shares and so on, then the Facebook bot is going to tag your profile against those interest groups. And then so when the advertiser comes along and says, well, I've got a product, a financial product for 25 to 35-year-old males, then they can target someone like me, because I'm a male, I'm in the age group, and I have an interest in finance. So then it's likely to be a far more specific ad, which will get a much better return. And keep in mind, you're paying every time someone sees an ad or every time someone clicks on an ad. So the more specific you can be, the better. Life events, as I sort of covered with the marriage and relationships, you can do things like changing career or starting a new job. So if you have a product that is aimed at people who change careers, or is something like that, or getting a pay rise, like say I've got a pay rise and then I started a new job, then I'm likely to be in the market to buy something, or an upgrade a house, refinance my mortgage, something like that. You can target life events. Lifestyle demographic targeting. So this gives you options to target things that people love going out in the morning, or they love travel, or a really good one with this is if you're a local coffee shop. I've often seen local coffee shops running ads 24 hours of the day. Not many people go out and buy coffee at 2 o'clock in the morning. And what I find really interesting is most of those coffee shops are not open at 2 o'clock in the morning. So why are you running an ad? Ideal time to run an ad, if you're a coffee shop, in a local coffee shop, would be, say, at 10 a.m. or 1 p.m. That sort of afternoon sort of coffee time, and then you run a simple ad to maybe 500 meters around your coffee store between 1 and 2 o'clock in the afternoon, saying free delivery in the local area, or feeling like a coffee with freshly brewed, little things like that. It's really thinking about your customer and setting times a day, setting language, that sort of thing. Connections. This is a really powerful one, particularly if you have a product that is a trust-based product, like say a restaurant or a food type product, or a gym or a membership type thing. Because if you have, say, 500 Facebook followers or Instagram followers, whichever platform, then you can control the Facebook ad manager to find people that look like the same people. So it's called a lookalike audience. And so if you have a really good solid following of fans, then through the Facebook ad manager, you can use that to find more people that have the same kind of interests, same sort of demographics and so on. So that's a really good strategy. Behaviors, you can target users who have made a specific action. So if someone, like let's say someone went to your website and they went through a number of different pages, and then there was a pattern emerging, then the Facebook ad manager could then control ads based on those behaviors. So it looks for patterns, or if they sort of checked into a local cafe every week, every Monday for a year, then that would have a pattern that you could target, and they're probably going to be a VIP customer, so you might show them a VIP ad. There's little things you can do like that. And then there's this concept called retargeting, which most people should be familiar with. If you're not familiar with retargeting, all this means is when you, say, go to a website and then maybe you leave something in your, you buy a product, but you leave it in the cart, and then all of a sudden, 5 minutes later, you see it on your Facebook feed, and saying, here's a 10% off coupon voucher to come and check out. That's called retargeting or remarketing. It means the same thing. I find that these ads particularly are done really poorly, because I constantly am finding myself seeing ads that I've already bought. So I might buy something, a keyboard, say, from a computer shop, and then all of a sudden on my Facebook page I see the keyboard that I've just bought. That's the dumbest thing in the world, in my opinion, because I've already bought it and I don't need to see the ad anymore. So if you're going to do retargeting, make sure you think about the retargeting, the remarketing ads properly, and so that you're only really showing ads to people that are likely to re-engage with you, and you're not just wasting money on just showing ads to people that have already checked out, already purchased. So really important thing to think of. My absolute favorite and probably bugbear of the whole thing is this Facebook ad manager screen called locations. And they do this really crafty little thing where they automatically select the country that you're in. So, to an untrained eye, it looks pretty obvious. Oh yeah, I'm in Australia. It'll be Australia, or in this example, the US. But what a lot of people don't seem to notice is the little number on the right-hand side that says potential reach 220 million. So no way in any ad campaign should I be showing an ad to the entire population of the US. There is no product that I can even think of, perhaps other than a COVID-19 vaccination, that would appeal to 220 million people. So it's really, really, really important to have location demographics set up in your ad campaigns, and even more important if you are a business that only operates in a local area. So if you have a lawn mowing business, or an electrician's business, or a plumber, or something like that, then the most probable customers are going to be in a local region. You can control location down to postcodes, you can control location down to suburbs, you can control location down to cities, states. There are a few little sort of issues with volume. So if you get really specific with it, sometimes the ad manager will tell you that there's not enough people in that region for it to show ads to. You can also select things like people who pass through that location. So, you know, or stay regularly within that location. For example, if you were targeting people up and down the train line, then you're going to get a lot of people that are passing through that location who are not necessarily in that location. So you need to be careful with location targeting as well if you're a local business, to exclude out any locations that you know, are going likely to have a lot of moving traffic. You know, if you were near the airport, you would want to exclude the airport from your ad campaign if you're a local business, because there's a lot of people coming and going that you wouldn't want to show ads to. Other things you can do is, a lot of people I see seem to only have one ad campaign and one location, and that sort of defeats the idea of a split test. What you really want to sort of look at is doing multiple campaigns. Yes, it takes longer to do, but it allows you to allocate budget to the best performing. So, for example, if you're in the United States and you had a campaign for sunscreen, then you are far likely to get a better conversion in California than you are in, say, Alaska, because more people are likely to use sunscreen at certain times of the year. So if you're going to run a campaign that is seasonal or you know, state weather specific, then you want to be really thoughtful on the location settings, and probably change your allocations throughout the year and change your ads, because, you know, in the US you can have many seasons in one day, and particularly in Melbourne, that springs to mind. You know, you can have all sorts of seasonal and weather issues in Melbourne if you're targeting in Melbourne. So really think about the product, the weather, the time of the year, autumn, summer, winter, and control your ads per state. You know, at a minimum, ideally go down into localities or suburb levels, but ideally do it at a city or a state level. Definitely don't have the Australia box turned on. Next tip is to remember to hook up Google Analytics. So this is a stats program that is installed on your website. This is very important if you're running a business, running a Facebook ad, that you are likely to have your action from your Facebook ad is to get to the website, because you want to know in Google Analytics what people are doing. So this very simple example I have here tells you how many people came from the Facebook ads. It tells you how many of those people were new, so they'd never been there before. It tells you how many pages they looked at. It tells you how their average session duration, and a really good little rookie mistake that a lot of people make with Facebook ads and other ads is that they the ads get shown inside games. So Facebook owns a lot of the games like Candy Crush, and they use those games to show ads, and they put the ads, if you've ever noticed, in very annoying little places that your thumb happens to scroll over. So if you get your phone out now, and one of my favorite bugbears is the Weather Zone app, and if you open the Weather Zone app, you will find that the ad at the bottom of the page is almost overlaid over the top of the back and the home button for your phone. And what happens is the ad manager, or Facebook, if you like, gets paid when you accidentally click. But then in Google Analytics, what you'll see in the average session duration is a 0.01 of a second. And what that means is someone's accidentally clicked on that ad, and then they've hit the website, gone, oh, no, that's not what I wanted, gone back to the game. So you times that out by 4 billion users, there's a lot of easy revenue that Facebook can make that you probably shouldn't have. So that's one of the other things to double check is placements and you know, where you want your ads to be shown. You don't necessarily want them in games and mobile apps and so on. And Google Analytics is a really good place to identify that potential issue. Another really good sort of option for a lot of people that I think is a really great tool. It has lots of usage, is the Facebook Messenger chat. So this is just simply live chat. Ignore all the website. It's just a bit highlighted in red at the bottom of the page here. The live chat in the past has typically been a pay per subscription type product. Facebook Messenger chat is free. It takes all of about 10 minutes to install on a website, unless there's some specific issue with it, but it integrates completely with Facebook. And what's really powerful is that you can control ads inside there. So if someone comes into your website and they engage with you on Facebook Messenger chat, then you can then advertise to that person. So the next time that they come back, you can show them a promo, or you can show them a coupon, or you can suggest questions to them, and you can build a really integrated, very automatic sales journey inside the Facebook Messenger chat. The Facebook Messenger chat itself is free. However, you obviously need to pay for the ads. So I find that one's a really good one, really easy to use as well. And you get really good engagement in it, because people usually don't start a chat with you unless you're generally interested in doing something. So that's a good little tip. And then this is the sort of my golden rule, is just remember that F is for shareholders, not for business. As much as they do a lovely song and dance about being the good people and it's a free network, there's no such thing as a free lunch. So Facebook is free for you as users, only so that they can get as many people as possible into their distribution, so that they can give advertisers the option to advertise to anyone in the world. Everything around the Facebook business model is built around shareholder returns. If you do have a Facebook ad account, you would no doubt have had a phone call from a very lovely person from Facebook who would be telling you how they can make your campaign much better, and they're here to help you, and they'll help you get the best out of Facebook. They have no interest in helping you whatsoever, other than delivering a return for shareholders. So just remember that Facebook is a publicly listed American company, and their overall mandate above everything else is to deliver returns for shareholders. So everything that they would suggest, everything that they would write on their Facebook help, Facebook support, any articles you read on the internet, very likely being put out by Facebook. Every one of those articles are very likely to be written with delivering shareholder returns. Last little tip is, and this one's really a tip if you are paying a third party to manage this on your behalf, is who's actually paying for the ads. There are some sneaky digital marketing companies who are taking slices of ad fees, or not allowing the business owner to access the actual ad manager itself, and then charging a margin. It's very, very straightforward for you to get access to the ad manager yourself. You should be just paying for the ads directly. There are some good little tips if you're running ads in different countries, particularly if they're charged in US dollars, because if you're paying currency conversion fees, you're probably looking at adding about 5% to your cost. Whereas there's some really good new systems and businesses out there that are removing that, and so you can kind of be charged and billed in US dollars. If you want some tips on that, feel free to send me an email. And particularly important if you're spending sort of upwards of $5,000-$10,000 a month in a foreign currency. 5% does start making quite a big difference. So there's some good things you can do for that. That's it from a Facebook ads point of view. I feel like I might need a rest, unless anyone has any questions. Feel free to put them in the chat.
Hello, everybody. Gareth,
oh, he's back. He's back.
I disappeared, but I have been listening intently. Yeah,
right,
so it's time for questions
now,
guys. But as you can see on the screen at the minute, the next webinar is coming up in 2 weeks' time, and that's about website content and tips for improving website content So if you have any issues or questions around how to get words put together for your website and how to do it yourself, or how to get people to help you with it, then next webinar will be helpful for that one. So if you've got any questions, please, now's a great time to ask Gareth. And yeah, that was a very good session, Gareth. I actually plugged back into most of that, and so that was.
You had disappeared to make coffees then.
I know it was, yes. The internet decided to drop out on me, which is kind of fun. Okay. Tony had a question at one stage about exclusions, Gareth. This is about managing exclusions, being able to exclude different areas.
Yes. Okay. Very good tip. Yes. So as if I just rewind a second, I haven't got an actual example open. However, just like being able to control, say, a location. So you want to like let's say you went into the ad manager and said the United States. You could then exclude California, or you could say all people, but I specifically want to exclude female, or there's lots of different options. But it's like, rather than going through the effort of individually breaking it down, which would be my first preference, then there is an option for you to also exclude things. So you can probably just about make it out under the bottom of the screen there in blue. It says exclude people. Yeah, it's a really good tactic, and it all comes back to knowing your customer. My golden tip for people or clients when they want to run any type of advertising is, don't even open your computer until you have drawn out on a piece of paper exactly who your ideal customer is. What do they look like? Where are they? How old are they? What language do they speak? What are their credentials? And be really, really, really specific. And then once you've done, and you can have multiple of them. You don't have to have one type of customer. You might have 5 different types of customers, but be really, really specific. Okay,
yeah, one of the other points about exclusions was also about retargeting, and to exclude purchases in retargeting, so that when you're retargeting, exclude purchases, i.e. people who have bought. Peter has asked, can you explain differences between engagements versus people reached?
Okay. Good question. So engagements, this is somewhat difficult to explain without seeing it, but engagements is like when you want to build a discussion inside an ad comment. So a good example was an expo that we ran some ads for in Perth, and we wanted people to tag their friends. So we built an ad that showed to a specific group of people about an expo that they would be probably interested in. And what we did was encourage those people to tag their friends. So you're effectively getting free bang for buck without having to advertise to those secondary people. You're leveraging the people who have already been shown the ad to tag their friends into it and say, "Oh, bring a friend along to the expo." So that's an example of engagement. You're trying to get people to engage inside your post or your ad. Whereas people reached is more of a if you think like a TV campaign versus a Google ad campaign. A TV campaign is a good advertising option for telling all of WA that Victoria is excluded from flying into WA. It's a really sort of good bang for buck to get a message across to a lot of people. No one needs to engage in it. It's just a good way of telling a whole heap of people. Peter, obviously, I know your business. So a good reach campaign would be putting a new franchise into a new suburb. You would show an ad to as many people as possible in that suburb with a friendly picture of your new franchisee, saying, this person's now available in your area. You don't really need them to engage with you. You don't really need them to make comment. You just want them to know that you're there. Whereas if you were to do an engaged post, it would be something like available for bookings. We have two slots available this Friday. If you'd like a discount, please message us. That's an engagement post.
Okay.
that
Gareth,
answer
there's
the...
another question. Oh, did you want to add to that? Sorry.
No, that's it.
Okay, another question from Sean. Gareth, for Australia, do you have a recommendation for daily ad spend?
Ooh, as low as possible until you prove that it works. That comes with a few other issues, because there is kind of a bit of a sweet spot for getting results. But a lot of people say, "Oh, we'll throw $1,000 at it," and then they set up Australia, and then everybody, and then 10 seconds later, all the ads have been used up, and your $1,000 has gone in the bin. I would spend something that you're comfortable with spending, and make sure you do your numbers on a cost per acquisition. So if you know that your sales is worth so for every $1,000 that you can afford to spend $100 on ads, then you wouldn't want to spend any more than $100 to get one sale. So you have to kind of think about it like that. There isn't really just a general number, that works for
Know your
everybody.
cost of acquisition. What is it within the sale, the value of each sale that you are prepared to spend to acquire the customer?
Yeah. So and then build it like that, and start small. If I have no idea what your business is, Sean, but if you had a local business, then start in a 1K radius. If you spend all of your budget within that K, then do 2Ks, and then 3Ks, then 4K, and keep sort of adding to it as you prove that it works. The worst thing you can do with this is spend it all in one go.
Gareth, Paul has asked, does keyword targeting work in Facebook like Google Ads?
Good question, Paul. I could talk for an hour on that. Not yes and no. Google Ads has two types of general marketing. You have keyword specific search, so that's people who type into Google a key term like electrician, Perth, say. That doesn't work anything like keyword targeting in Facebook. However, Google Ads then has a display network, which is what is actually in the Weather Zone app, which is what I was talking about before. And you can use keyword targeting for interests and demographics. So one of my favorite examples is that if you want to target people who like jelly donuts, you can target people based on that. So Facebook doesn't have a keyword, well, not to my knowledge anyway, I might be wrong, to my knowledge, a search engine built into it that is keyword based, like the Google Ad Manager, the Google Search Ad Manager. Yeah, that's the best I can do to answer that quickly.
Yeah, Tony, just on the point about the number of sales, how much to spend, Tony has actually added a comment in here that you need to get 7 sales per day on average so that the Facebook algorithm works to maximum effect. That's per ad set that you're running. So Facebook has some clever stuff happening behind the scenes. And as there are a certain number, 7, it seems to be the average that you need to get in order for Facebook really to work optimally for you. So it is very possible to underspend, and it's equally very, very possible to overspend. You overspend when you blow money quickly to audiences that will never buy or don't buy. Underspending on Facebook is also something where you need to spend enough to have Facebook algorithm click in and optimize itself for you.
Maybe if I could just expand on that a little bit. I mean, that is very, very subjective to the type of ad you're running and the business you're running and so on. But the point of it is the Facebook wants eyeballs, right? So Facebook had a big issue a couple of years ago where a lot of people jumped off Facebook and went to Instagram because they got sick of the ads, right? Now, if the Facebook algorithm shows a whole heap of ads to the Facebook, or like you and me, who and we don't click on them, or we don't buy, and then we mark them as really annoying, and we get really annoyed with Facebook, then Facebook will lose its audience, right? So the reason why the algorithm puts preference on sales, and you'll find even if you did more than that, like if you did 50 per day on average rather than 7, then you'll find the ads get shown more often in better places and so on, because like the Facebook is giving the users what they want, right? What Facebook doesn't want to do, and Google is the same, is show ads to people that don't want to see them, because that will make those people annoyed and they will then leave and go to another platform. Facebook bought Instagram because it lost all of its, well, sorry, a lot of its younger audience, because we were all sick of the ads. So they've been very careful with the way that the Instagram ad manager works, and the algorithm has had a lot of changes made to it so that it's only showing ads to people who are likely to engage with them. So
Okie dokie.
this comes back to knowing your customer. Everything
Yep.
revolves around that.
If you've got any other questions, then please get in touch with us. As I say, we're going to wrap up now. We've probably gone over we try to keep these concise, and we've gone over our 25 minutes. But thank you everybody for sticking around. I hope you've enjoyed this. This has been one of the most highly attended webinars that we've run. So thank you very much. Next one in 2 weeks' time about website content. And if you want any more help on any of this, please give Gareth a call.
I prefer email. Please email me. I can only do one phone call at once.
Yeah, exactly. But no, anyway, get in touch if you need any more help. It's not just Gareth here or myself. Gareth sort of heads up the database marketing within Concise, but there's a whole team of people who back him up with it, and there are a bunch of people who actually get all the work done. So there's a lot of help here if you need any assistance. Thanks everybody for being part. Gareth, you've done a good job today. Do you want to wrap up?
Oh, thank you very much, everybody. As I say, I hope that was useful. There's no intention to sell anyone anything. Those tips are things I've learned from doing this for many people over a many number of years. There's much more to it, but say if you remember your customer and who they are, then you will find that you should get results. And just ask yourself, are the customers that you want on Facebook in the first place? That's rule number one.
Yeah.
Thanks very much.
Thanks, everybody. Goodbye.